Good evening. I'm just checking some. Hey, listen, you got me in the middle of a bit of a thing with YouTube. Hang on, what's going on here? I'll ignore that. Get rid of that. Right. Yeah. Don't know what's happened here. Apparently, there was no sound on the intro. The intro was going fine for us. We could hear it. I don't know why all of a sudden the intro's not coming through on YouTube. That's very weird. It's suddenly fine. It's totally fine in StreamYard. I don't know why it's being a bit of a sod coming through, but it's something we need to look at then. I will speak to my tech team, tech person. He's not going to be happy with that. He'll be like, oh, more work. Anyway, good evening and welcome to a very happy, very relaxed Mancunian way. I'm just going to bring Rich in when he gives me a thumbs up because me and Rich want to speak to everyone. I had to reboot my YouTube. It's a problem with YouTube. Right. Okay. Thank you. Rich, are you ready to come in? Give me a thumbs up. You could have just given me a thumbs up, Rich. He's in the background typing. Right. The reason why we're hoping to get Ozzy on as well, but Ozzy, he's not here. He's working. But me and Rich want to come in before we bring our guests in. We just want to say on behalf of myself, Rich, Ozzy, and everyone who's been on the Mancunian way in the past, a big thank you. Because if you didn't know, we have reached 1,000 subscribers today. And me, Rich, and Ozzy are very, very happy with that. Rich woke up two lovely pieces of news today. Didn't you, Rich? Can't hear you. You're on mute. I don't know what's going on.
Is that working now?
Yeah, hang on. We had you then.
I changed cameras.
Right, there you go. Got you now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I won 50 million on the lottery overnight and United lost. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, City won. Me, you, and Oz, and everyone who's been involved with the Mancunian way, because I don't want to forget other people who've been involved with it and helped a great deal. Doesn't matter what's happened in the past, people have helped, and that's what matters. And without you people being amazing and everything else, me, Rich, and Ozzy couldn't do it without you guys, and that's what matters. So big thank you from me. I know, Rich, you'll be happy as well. But it doesn't mean we stop.
Fantastic news.
We're going to keep going. We're going to keep pushing. Ozzy will be back either tomorrow or Tuesday when we've discussed what we're going to do. So Ozzy will be back and we'll say thank you to everyone as well. He is in the comments. I'll check them during the things, mate. Don't worry. But yeah, we're going to bring in our guests. We have got Aveta Games TV and Mr. Patrick Holler, all the way from Oz, down under. That was a really bad Australian accent. I'm trying to get Patrick back on things and it don't work.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad you don't try to do a Canadian accent. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Vader Games TV, the legend has returned. Hope you're well, mate.
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on the show. Good to see you guys.
Good. And Patrick from the Early Bird podcast is with us. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. Good evening to yourself. Good morning and good day to everybody else out there listening.
Yeah. Thank you, always. Yeah. So we're going to celebrate two things. Manchester City have got back-to-back wins in the first time that feels like forever. I am going to come into everyone's comments. But yeah, 1,000 subscribers. I might do a little video at some point this week thanking everyone. But we'll see as we're going along. But Michael Feeney's in the house. We won. I don't care if Arsenal won. That's what I like to see, mate. That's what I like to see. We just do. We got to beat them twice. We do our business. There we go. That's what I like to see. Take the good to be bad, says Michael Feeney. If Arsenal win the league, they deserve it. Exactly. That's the way you got to look upon it. We have 18 league games left. Michael's wrote me an essay here. 18 games left. But I love reading Michael Feeney's comments. And 19 league games, and we have to still play them twice and still play a lot of games. Exactly. You don't need to. I know. So I've had a lot of thank you messages for my little rah-rah speech yesterday. That was not planned. Rich and Ozzy didn't even know that was going out onto the channel. That was something completely done off my own back. And because I was in a very peeved off mood, and it's been burning away at me for about 5 weeks. And I just needed a little bit of a vent and a rah-rah cry. Just to remind everyone why we support this marvellous football. So, yeah. If you have any ideas in the chat for the channel, yes, we do appreciate that. Just email us at the bottom. You could give feedback. Exactly. Hey, 2,000. We've only just got to 1,000, Michael. I will just sort Manchester. Yeah, it's not bad. Exactly, mate. Thank you. I'm trying to keep. I've been told I've got to see comments on the screen longer, but trouble is I'm trying to make sure everyone speaks as well. 5K this year, I wish. Super City says still not good enough, but we've lost our press. I don't think there was a lot wrong today, mate. I'm honest with you, but we'll get into it. Edison class once again, he was. Hey up, Stephen Bennett. Alec Johnson's in the house. Apparently, Charlie, you've got to reboot your YouTube and then it works. That's what I've been told. Apparently, it's a problem with YouTube. HAALAND and droppable. Yeah, of course he is. 4 hat-tricks. It is mind-blowing. Something we'll talk about. Tom Betts is in the building. Good evening. Michael Feeney's live back in. Hello, mate. Thank you for your lovely words. City will be ready for Arsenal. Mark my words, they will. Big Morgan's in the building. Hello, mate. FIFA's with us. Hello. He's having a little bit of a rant. Thank you very much, Charlie. Congratulations to you as well, mate. Your channel. Lots of congratulations. Tyrone Blues. Ozzy, I'm going to check them as I'm going, mate, when I've got a second. Thank you all so much. You have been following me, Charlie, for the last 3 years, and I do appreciate that, mate. I do. A lot of you on here have been following me for 3 years, but it's about following these legends as well. I walked past Mcfc and there was a guy stood down his one leg. He must have been checking balance. I've missed your jokes, you know what? I have. I mean, I understand you're a Leeds fan and you need a bit of a laugh in your life. If watching Leeds wasn't funny enough for you, mate. Top result, lads. Evening all. Arsenal going nowhere. What confidence. I was going to come on, but had how I tried. Big thank you to everyone who subscribed. There you go. There's Aussies. On the way to work, well done. No worries. MCFC Ireland. Right, okay then. So Manchester City have smacked Wolves 3-0. Let's get into it. Start with you, Richard. Team news came out. Not a lot of changes from the Tottenham game. Obviously, Ake was the big drop for Laporte, and KDB came in for Alvarez. Other than that, was you expecting them, not expecting them, expecting more changes?
Yeah, I thought De Bruyne would be back. It's very, very rare he gets 2 games on the bench, so I thought he'd be back. And I must admit, I thought they might give Diaz a game, so I thought we'd have 1 change at centre-back, but I actually thought, we might give Diaz and possibly Laporte a game, and it might be someone like a Kanji rolling out. So, I guess not too surprising. I think the big news was that Phil Foden's not fit enough to be in the squad. So, very public kick up the arse for Foden from
apparently he's got a foot injury. He was not at the boxing last night. He had a foot injury that suddenly appeared in the middle of training. I swear he was not at the boxing match last night.
Well, I think it was pretty clear from everything I saw that he was dropped because Pep had said to the press he was not match fit, but there was no injury. So I think he's been given the kick up the arse that Calvin Phillips got a few weeks ago, and been told to get his attitude right. But I think other than that, it's the team we would have picked. And, I think we saw a little bit more urgency in defence today, a little bit more taking a chance in attack, and, a little bit more noise from the crowd. It certainly seemed like on TV.
Vater, what did you think of the game? Of the team lineup, should we say? What in the game?
You know what? The team lineup was calm for me. I mean, I knew we had a good performance from that last game, so we were kind of all guessing whether he'd drop Alvarez or who might lose a spot, because we kind of all expected KDB to get back into the rotation. But no, it was like everyone has been looking very good, and it's just a matter of, are the instructions going to match the starting 11? So yeah, I was pretty calm with it. It was great to see Laporte and Stones, and the fact that they're fully healthy, and yeah, I mean, a little bit of questions like, is everything okay with Walker? Is everything okay with Cancelo? But the 11 was good to see.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Patrick, what did you think? Did you help her?
Yes, I was happy with that lineup. Well, the last time we had Kevin and Ilkay starting, obviously it didn't. The outcome wasn't what we expected. As long as we saw an increase in tempo in the midfield, I was going to feel very confident about this game. Seeing that back line, obviously, first thing everybody saw was just like, well, Rico's going to be spending most of the game in in a joint number 6 role with Rodri, and he certainly did. He played inverted pretty much the entire time he was on the pitch. But look, I was happy with that lineup. I wasn't expecting to see Alvarez in back-to-back games. Grealish on the left again. I thought, he had such a good game in the midfield against Spurs, and that I thought he'd be worth having another go in the midfield role. But all in all, I was happy with that lineup. I was happy with the way things were. I don't mind that setup if we're going to have John Stones and Laporte in defence. If we have a Kanji in between the two of them, I'm pretty happy with that. Back three, of course, everybody has mixed emotions, mixed feelings about that. But I think we were sort of helped by the fact that Wolves looked a bit out of sorts in attack, to be honest, especially in that first half, to be honest.
That's just Wolves.
Yeah.
Wolves have been like that for most of the last 3 years. They're a very solid team, but they're not particularly threatening up front.
Yep.
Sky Mole, that was better, wasn't it? Can I just say, I mean, was anyone shocked? There was a lot of hoo-ha at the beginning about Alvarez coming out. There was a lot of people really, really going on about Alvarez coming out, and it seemed to upset a few little people. This is my thing with Alvarez. I've no problem with Alvarez playing. I think he helps us. But it's who you bring out for him. Because I don't think, like I said the other day, we've always talked about, well, it's going to be Grealish, it's going to be Mahrez. And I don't think it ever will be one of those that comes out for Alvarez. What you're doing with Alvarez, you're going to take a midfielder out. So then you're looking at Gundogan, well, probably not even Gundogan, but you're looking at Bernardo or KDB then. And KDB is not going to be dropped 7 out of 10 times. Or both of them.
Well, they'd have both had, if Alvarez had played today, KDB wouldn't have played, which would have meant Bernardo and KDB, neither of them playing.
Exactly. Don't worry. Vater.
Yeah, man.
Do you understand people's little worries on Alvarez, or is it just like, he just rotate like everyone else?
Yeah, I think, a portion of the fan base don't accept the fact that players are going to be put in the rotation, or not even so much Pep's making choices for rotation. It's Pep making choices on what he expects the opposing team to do, and how he wants to play, and the players he thinks best fit against what they have in front of us. I think we probably would have seen a similar 11 if we were facing, a 5-back low block kind of defensive team again. But the Wolves didn't set up that way, so I think he made the choice on the squad that was going to best suit how he thought they were going to defend and attack us. So it made perfect sense. I was guilty of it early in the season where I'm like, Pep, what are you doing with this 11? Pep, what are you doing with this formation? Pep, what are you doing with these instructions? But now it's like, I'm calm. Let me just wait for the instructions and see how the team executes. So, yeah, I have a feeling that we're gonna continue to see many changes, especially amongst kind of like the mid and attacking three, moving forward than compared to what we were seeing with the defensive line. I think now we're going to see a lot of rotation up front.
Okay. Pat, where do you with the Alvarez little conundrum?
Oh, I've been saying since the start of the season, or it's just been over 12 months since we signed him, that I think Pep's first and only intentions were to protect him as much as he can. Well, sure, he's young, he's fit, he's ready to play. I just don't think he's ready to play in Pep's system every 3 days. But I think we're doing the right thing in terms of bedding him in, just because, again, it's not necessarily the fact that he's adjusting to English football. It's the fact that he's adjusting to English lifestyle. And maybe playing every 3 days is not the best thing for him right now. But I would not be surprised if we start seeing him play an every 3 day, twice, 3 times a week player come next season.
Good point.
For me, I think Manchester City fans have got to realise this. Alvarez is he's not going to be a 50, 60 game a player season. He's not going to be, because when it comes to depending on what we do, we know who the number 1, number 9 is. That is just straight fact, and we know who the solid number 9 is. And what you're going to have to do is try and squeeze Alvarez in somewhere. That's what you're going to have to do. It's not going to have to be just a quick. And the problem is, KDB's he's going to play in all the big games as well. So I just think Alvarez just has to bide his time at the moment and just take the chances like he does. For me, I think he's brilliant. I think he's deadly. I keep saying he's proved me wrong slightly. But on the other side of the coin is, I do think he's just got to get, and we'll come on, which takes me nicely on somebody else. Alvarez has got to get his upper body strength going a bit, because I think he's a bit bullied sometimes off the ball a little bit too easily. But that will come with time, and he's running off the ball and he's chasing down. He's phenomenal. But someone else who I thought wasn't at his best today, and this is why I said be careful, was Rico for me. Now, people have we were talking about coming out of the stadium, we were like, we're not sure. I mean, what I'd love to know is, did anyone see in the game when he picked his injury up in? Does anyone think they know when they saw it?
No.
And jump in if you think you did. Vader, did you see where you thought the injury may have come, or no?
I don't know if it was a result of one, but maybe accumulation. I thought maybe it was just, maybe it was just accumulation of some of the hits that he was taking. Why it was like, you know what, I'm going to pull you out. Because he didn't look to be walking or running gingerly at all. So, no, I couldn't make sense of it at the time. And I haven't watched the game back to see if there was a sign there. But, yeah, I couldn't tell. What about you guys?
Pat? And by the way, as you know, it's Ozzy has joined us as well.
Yeah, I didn't realise it. To be honest, I didn't know he was injured. I just assumed it was tactical.
Same.
No, he apparently took a knock. That's why he went out.
Right.
It's probably against Spurs, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I don't know if everybody felt the same way, but when they were 18, we were able to hide injuries a bit better, weren't we? I don't know. We're going back a while. Like, as a collective, we're all going back a few years, aren't we? Look, yeah, there was nothing there to suggest to me that he was injured. And as you said, Rich, even now, until we just mentioned this in the conversation, I thought it was just purely tactical. I thought it was his intention for the last 45 minutes to go with the back four, just shore up things with Nathan Ake at the back, at left back instead, and John Stones, playing on the right. I had no reason to suggest that. Now, later in the week, I might have maybe on our next podcast, I might have a chat to see how much that's going to affect us with Rico Lewis, if he is injured. But, again, Kyle Walker, I'm sure, is chomping at the bit, ready to go. So if need be, he's ready for next week.
Hello, good evening, Addy. Ozza, good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
You got anything you want to say, mate, on what we're talking about?
Well, I just thought I said it in the chat and the comments earlier. I'd just like to thank everyone for getting us to 1K. It's a big achievement for the channel, and for me, Rich, and Martin. It's definitely a goal that we've been aiming for, and to get to it, I didn't think we'd get it until towards the end of the season, but to get to halfway through. Brilliant. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed and liked what we've produced, and also to Veta and obviously Patrick who have come on and helped us to get to this point. So I'd just like to thank everybody. Sadly, I've only been able to watch highlights of the game just because I've been at work all day. I didn't finish work until 8:30 this evening. So I literally just wanted to kind of jump on and say that really. I'll add what I can, obviously, from the highlights that I saw, but I'm going to have to go off kind of everyone's comments and obviously the rest of the guys here. So,
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I just thought, listen, that was kind of quietly what came out. It may well have just been tactical, but this is what I've always said about Rico. Everyone was up play Rico now every game. Rico's every game. Walker's finished. And it was a case of just relax. The kid will have great games. The kid will have not so great games. And the kid will have awful games. That's just football learning. That's just football education. And I think as fans, we do fall into this. Right, Rico every game. I think sometimes we just forget he's still only 18. He's still a young lad. He's jumped a year, really. He's like jumped a year like you do in school. Jumped a whole year and he's come. So I think we just have to be careful and realise he's going to be a brilliant talent. Before we obviously the big headlines are going to be Erling Braut Haaland, who today smacked his 4th hat-trick. Is that right? Have I got that correct? 4th hat-trick of the season. Crystal Palace, the Rags, today,
Forest.
And Nottingham Forest. From what I understand, yeah. Thank you. I need to talk about Mahrez and Grealish. Veta, I'm coming to you, mate. Including me, I have pounded the... Well, no. I have slagged off these two. I'm changing that word. That's getting clips.
Your words
Ending up on some highlight show. These two have took some absolute criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism. For me, those two are the most improved players at the minute in this football team. They're now like you can't drop them.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's funny how things go 360 or full circle, because some fans will actually say the reason why they turned their form around was because they were getting criticized and abused the way they were, right? Like some fans have that mentality, but they've been great. They've been absolutely great, and there's many factors on why we need to maybe all hold our hands up and remind ourselves that we need to be patient with every player that's put on that shirt and plays for that badge, because they're going to have dips in form, and we also need to remember what they've delivered us for past seasons. I think unfortunately Pep didn't really do these two a good service with so much rotation happening on that back line. You know, they had to figure it out, not quite knowing what kind of support they had, whether they could take their risks in some attacking moments. And I think they kind of second guessed themselves a little bit. But the more familiar we've all become as a squad and the 11, I think we're kind of seeing the trust that they have and the confidence that they have to be taking on players. In some instances, you know, they're being so direct that they are taking on 2 defenders at a time, or they're making those quick decisions to swing the ball around, or even to recycle. But it's quick, it's decisive. So Mahrez, and we kind of had previous shows, like maybe less than a week or 2 weeks ago, where we said Mahrez quieting the critics. And we had a similar show. Jack hearing the criticism, hearing everything, and silencing the crowd. So it's great to see, and it's a great reminder. I think with which, as much as Pep has been saying within post match conferences and pre-matches and things of that nature, to remind us, the fans and everyone, that we need to back these guys. It's difficult, but we need to back them. Criticizing's fine, but being harsh and abusive isn't. And I love what Mahrez and Jack have been doing, because they were heavily criticized by many of us.
Yeah. Can I just say, by the way, I haven't actually said anything, but congratulations on Man United for being in the 3-day title race, as Sub2 has mentioned. It was lovely. You had your little day in the sun with the Manchester derby. You were in the title race. Manchester turned red, and it lasted all of 3 or 4 days. Listen, lads, you got to perform a bit better than this, you know. Got to perform a bit better than 3 or 4 days. It don't work like that, lads. You know, one win and you think you're the dog's bollocks again. Rich, Mahrez, Grealish.
At the moment, you can't really knock him. I think, I mean, that their work rate has really gone up. Mahrez has really started to come a lot more to look for the ball. When Lewis plays, that really helps Mahrez, because I think when we often had Walker or even Cancelo at right back, they'd often be right up with Mahrez. Mahrez sometimes frustrating for not moving when they went into his space. Whereas when Lewis plays, Lewis is cutting in, and the main interaction he has with Mahrez is, he's there for the pullback, for the cross. So I think that's part of the reason probably Mahrez's form has improved. Is playing with Lewis, I think, has helped him. Grealish just keeps trying. His work rate goes up, and he's always doing something. And I think his end product is not as clinical as most of the other players, but what he does have is he's drawing fouls, he's making runs, he's dynamic. He generally keeps the ball. If something he's doing isn't working, he gets it back. So I think, they're both very solid and playing well. And whilst I do think, Foden's ceiling is higher, and an on-form Foden is the best of the 3 of them, he's not at the moment. And clearly, he's not mentally right, Foden. I mean, that's the only thing.
Coming to that, Rich. Yeah, coming to that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I promise you, we're going to get into the Phil Foden stuff. Patrick, come on. Are we? Is it Jack Grealish haters sit down?
It's becoming that way. Since the players have come back from the World Cup, one thing I've definitely noticed is certainly Jack Grealish's link-up play, and this is referring to the fact that João Cancelo hasn't been playing at left back quite a lot since we've come back. But mostly with Nathan Ake on the left-hand side, they do seem to have a lot better link-up play. I think Jack Grealish has a lot more confidence in Nathan Ake working on the left-hand side with him. And, I wouldn't say necessarily reaping the rewards, but he just seems a lot more comfortable in his play, in his link-up play with Nathan Ake, and the fact that, I think he creates a lot more opportunities for him to cut him and shoot. I mean, Jack Grealish could have easily walked away with a brace from today's game. He had 2 very, very good shots on goal. Unfortunately, one was straight at the keeper, and the other one was just a little bit off target. But the guy's playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, and I just feel really comfortable with him playing alongside, not alongside, but just basically playing in the current link-up system that he's doing at the moment. While I still think João Cancelo offers a lot to this team going forward, just doesn't seem to benefit Jack Grealish when they both play on that left-hand side as well.
I totally disagree, by the way, on Super. The one thing you can't have a go at Grealish for at the minute is pressing ability. Jack Grealish was the biggest presser in that whole game today.
Martin, against Spurs, there were patches there where Jack Grealish was playing like Bernardo Silva's best games.
Yeah.
Just running back and pressing like a madman.
He did it today, Pat. He did it today.
In glimpses, he did. He wasn't the full Bernardo, but he did in period.
I've never seen Jack Grealish run press like he has done in the last 2 games. He's like a man possessed at the minute. Which,
if he keeps this up, is there possibly a discussion that, never mind looking for Bernardo replacement, we might already have it if he does? We've always said on this channel that's what we thought the game plan was anyway. Yeah, the game plan was to replace Bernardo with Grealish. It's coming. It feels like it's coming to fruition now. Yeah, and now you're seeing exactly where that's coming from, because the guy will press all day long. I've never seen a guy. I mean, there was a woman behind me who hates him. Trust me, she wasn't hating him today. She could say jack about him, and that isn't a pun. She could say nothing about him today. She hated it because everyone. While we're on that discussion, that's probably the most important thing that came out of today's match was, were you able to make peace with that 7-year-old in the row behind you after the Spurs game?
No, they weren't there today.
Oh, okay.
It's annoying because Martin had bought him a curly whirly and a can of Kaiser.
What is your thing? Hang on a minute, right? Hang on a minute. Stop. Breaking news. What is your thing with curly?
My favourite defender of the 90s.
Whirlies and Tizers. Sorry, my internet's having a brain fart. Scotty Mall, you can compare Mahrez to Grealish at the minute, mate. Grealish is working damn harder than Mahrez, but Mahrez is producing the goals and the assists. But Grealish is doing the work rate, so you can compare them. Grealish, I'll give you a spoiler. Grealish was my man of the match today. My man of the match. Needs to learn. Ozzy, go on, mate.
I was just about to say that's high praise coming from you, Martin, how much you've been slaughtering poor Jack. But no, I mean, again, from what I saw of the highlights, he seemed like he was a person possessed today. You've highlighted it, saying that the chances he created, the shots on goal, it's the Jack that we've all been hoping to see. Not only is he going to kind of have a assists and trying to score a few more goals, but he now is. He has scored a few more goals. He has got the assists, and I think this run of games has done him the world of good. We're now starting to see that benefit coming through now of that hopeful Bernardo Silva replacement. Because I think if he carries on like this, I don't think there's an argument to be had really that he can't do that role. Because he has got the ability, he's got that raw ability that obviously the club and Pep saw in him to come in and do a job. And today, I think he's proven that out of a shadow of a doubt, any other game that he's had with City, that he is more than capable of doing that role. And hopefully we'll see more of this come from him in the games left to go. So, yeah, brilliant. Really happy for him. It shut some people up, which obviously it has because you were in the crowd, Martin, and the people who normally would give him a lot of abuse just couldn't say anything today.
People sang his name all game today.
Yeah, which is
amazing.
Which is fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely amazing. And he deserves that. I know he hasn't lit up the Premier League since joining City, but hopefully now this gives him the confidence to carry on. And prove that that he is an excellent player and he can have a great career with City. So I look forward and I really hope that we see more of this from him.
I'm a bit worried, Scotty Muller, what game you watched today, mate. Because if you think Jack Grealish just passed back today, I don't know what you've seen. I'm a bit perplexed to what you've watched. It's your opinion, but I don't know. And maybe it's me not keeping up with the chat at the moment because I'm way behind on the chat. So if you boys want to just start talking while I try and get up to date with the chat.
No, he definitely went for the touchline to try and put crosses in. He took a few shots. I mean, I think it's pretty
great
clear.
save in the first half, may I add?
Yeah, and he's definitely not. I think he's definitely not actually being as passing back as he was a few weeks ago. I think probably a dozen times in the game today, he either went for the byline for a cross, put a cross in, had a shot, or attempted something much more direct. It's been a criticism of me, but I think that has changed.
Can I ask? Because obviously I've only seen the highlights, but there was obviously the foul on the box on him.
Just before half time.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that. Yeah.
Because for me, it looked 100% a foul, and it looked like it should have been a penalty, and I couldn't figure out what had happened, why they come to that conclusion. I mean, I know we've talked about it previously about the referees and even VAR decisions really going against us, and this one just, I don't know how it came to that.
Ozzy, do you know what I think? Do you know what I personally think it is? And this is going back to what some people said in the chat, where the ref had another howler, like he wasn't good. If you go back 30 seconds before the foul on Grealish,
less than
Laporte. Yeah, less than that. Laporte
comes in fouls.
Comes in with a big lunging challenge, and he completely misses it. Like play on, continues playing, and then obviously, I think it's Nathan Collins puts the foul on in the box against Jack Grealish. I think because he's missed those especially that challenge from Laporte, because it was almost a lunge, really. I think he sort of nullified the penalty by saying, "Well, I kind of got that wrong with the foul. Can we just, we two wrongs hopefully make a right." Although, to be honest, I just think it was just bad refereeing in the end.
Yeah, because
I feel like if you look at that challenge on Laporte, it should have been a foul. And I think the fact that he's like, "Well, I missed that foul. I'm just going to sort of brush this one aside," which is just terrible refereeing in the end. It's like you got to give both, or you got.
In a way, though, that was one of the, one of those penalties that I never quite understand why the penalties, because the ball was going out. Whether he caught him, so it's technically a foul, but it was never going to come to anything. So for me, it was a terrible decision, but it was a terrible decision not to have given a free kick to Wolves, and the ball was rolling out. So in the end, I don't know. I felt that although it was a stonewall penalty and it should have been given, it would have been a very lucky penalty to get, because I don't think the ball should have been there. So it's one of those ones where I'm going to take it, because I think two errors were made and they evened out. I'd have been outraged if I'd have been Wolves and, that had been a penalty because of the foul before. Like, things of, I was outraged, when a foul is committed and the opposition go and score against us, I think, which has happened a couple of times this season. I'll complain then, but you got to be consistent, I suppose, in a way. So I'll take it.
Vator, you there, mate?
I'm here, man.
Good. I mean, we were talking about this, or you were at half time. I was trying to listen through my dodgy signal while I was at the concourse. By the way, City, sort the concourse out.
What?
30 minutes to get a drink is a joke. Sort it out, please, sir. Sort it.
Or bring your own
while we're talking about stadium and sorry, Ozzy, while we're talking about stadium and crowd, did anybody notice the extra stewards in the Orange High Viz that were in the separating our own fans in the southeastern or the southeastern corner of on the other side of the away fans? There was as many stewards between our own fans as there was between the fans, our City fans, and the away fans. Did anybody see that?
They're trying to stop. They're trying to stop anyone getting. Let's put it, the days of getting on the pitch now to celebrate are over.
Yeah. It looked weird. It was like, Pep came out after Tottenham saying, like, let's make more of an atmosphere, let's get behind the players and things like that. Okay, so but at the same time, we're going to put more.
Yeah, but sadly, you get
between two sections of City fans. It didn't make sense.
But you get dickheads who go on and attack goalkeepers.
Yeah, but there's no reason to be running on the pitch. We're midway through the season, mate.
No, but this is what the problem is. This is what the problem is of. And then last year, yes, we all ran on the pitch and enjoyed the title-winning celebration, but then they all jumped on the crossbar. The Aston Villa keeper got a clap on the way through, and they went on and wrecked the crossbar. So they've been told to up. My mate is a steward, and they've been told up your game. They've all been told to get more people in, more people, barricade it up. No one is going to be allowed to invade that football pitch anymore.
Have they done that on previous matches? Because that's the first time I've noticed it.
No, I think it only there was a statement that came out, I think, was it yesterday or Friday? There was a new rule they're going to start putting in place about these stewarding. You're now going to get even stringent. You're going to get lifetime bans if you go on the pitch now, to even prosecutions with the police, and they will go forward with that now.
Yeah.
There's too much happening within football grounds to where, sadly, we've got this attitude and we can do what we want now.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's come from. I don't know why people think it's okay to do.
Because actually, I got a really good mate of mine who has been banned, I think, for 2 seasons after what happened from the Villa game. But I'll discuss that with you off air after the show. Yeah,
well, I need to tell you because I've sorted something out now, Pat. On the last one,
yeah.
I am winning. We are now unblocked from a certain account.
No.
We're unblocked.
Righted some wrongs, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I tweeted out at halftime, which I don't normally do because I'm normally like, but I thought while I'm in this queue, I'll tweet. I said, it's fine as having the best Premier League in the world, the best players, but we have got the worst referees. And I literally tagged the PGMOL in. I'm like, what is going on? They're getting worse.
Yeah, I liked and retweeted what you tweeted out there.
It's a total joke, and I don't know how to even say that's not a penalty. For him to not even go and have a look at the screen, because by the way, I know we've got this thing of if they go to the screen, it's an automatically overturn. But one day a referee will go to the screen and overturn it. Or he won't overturn it. He'll say, no, I'm sticking with my decision. Yeah. But I just don't understand it.
He didn't even seem to make a decision, though. He just seemed to see it and then freeze and then just stand there like that.
Yep.
So he didn't look like he gave a goal kick or a corner or anything. He just looked like he saw it and froze and thought, freezing time, hopefully VAR's going to tell me something. But the problem is VAR don't give a penalty. VAR confirm it or overturn another decision. So I don't know what VAR would have said to him. You're right, you're wrong. Well, he hadn't done anything. He just gone there like that. So I think he was just, and I do think the point about the bad decision before, I think he just bottled it because of that. But as I say, I don't think we should have had the ball in their area. So it's.
Do you think that swayed him? Because listen, and I know that one was a penalty, but there was no discussion even on the penalty straight after half time. That was straight away done, dusted penalty. And I just think he played on this in the first half because he knows that one's given. So is it because of the foul earlier on the halfway line that he's got? Yeah, I can't give that because I've got to give that.
No, agree.
I was referring to before, yeah.
And I think the second penalty, which I must admit, it was only about the fourth time I saw it, I thought it was a penalty because the first couple of times it looked to me like Gundogan is about 1.5 meters away from their player when he actually goes down. And that's because he got touched and then he belatedly went down. So I saw that and I thought that's not a penalty and the referee gives it. So I think that was, he just thought, I've got to be decisive this time, and I've got to do the opposite of last time.
I know that is. That's why I'm just giving him the middle finger. I do not turn up 5 minutes before kickoff. It's a long walk up that road. Anyway, how's there?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, a lot of the new refs coming up from the championship. I'm not saying the championship isn't a proper league, or isn't well officiated, but to come up to this step, I mean, a lot of these new referees are kind of being thrown into some of the big games to basically so they can prove themselves. I'm not really thinking it's working. From everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks, do these referees need better support, more training? Does the assistant referee doing the VAR, does he need to have more input? To say, listen, I've noticed this, and give him a bit more instruction to give him a hand, because we're not hearing these conversations anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You're not undermining the referee in front of everybody, are you? You're only going to undermine him, I suppose, in some respects to people who can hear. Just to support these referees a bit more, because at the moment, like you said, the decisions that are being made are costing some clubs. I mean, okay, it's cost us a couple of times, but in all fairness, we're still second, and we're still in the title race. But there are other clubs down towards the bottom where these decisions will cost them, and will get them relegated if these decisions are made. And it's just like, something needs to happen sooner rather than later,
I'm just, Rich only has 5 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to you, Rich, just to talk about anything you want to talk about for 5 minutes.
No, I mean, I think the main...
You go, and then we'll come back.
Yeah. Main thing for me was, I think it was a step up from the last few weeks. I thought we were a bit more energetic in defence. I think we got numbers back much more quickly today against Wolves. Now, maybe that's because of the way they attack is a bit slow, and that helped, or maybe it was just a bit more urgency in the team. But I think we got back quickly, and I think Ederson was a little bit more careful, a little bit more decisive. There weren't, he looked like he'd had a bit of a kick up the arse last week. I thought he was just a bit more urgent to the ball, and a bit, was a bit more prepared to clear it a couple of times. And HAALAND, that goal, you saw a bit of a release after that goal against Spurs, and I think you saw HAALAND back to himself today, much more involved in the play all round. I thought, better movement, and obviously confident and back on the hat-trick train. Our woefully out of form striker's now got 4 in his last 4. So, it's amazing. His goal scoring is better than any other striker the Premier League's seen when he's out of form. And I thought, generally De Bruyne, not classic De Bruyne, but better than he has been. There were fewer really sloppy passes, lazy passes, missed passes today. There's still a few. You could see that when Lewis had a few crosses, he's not quite at the level we see from Mahrez and De Bruyne. So that's something for him to work on. And I thought the crowd sounded a lot better than it did against Tottenham in the first half particularly. So, I think all in all, it was a step in the right direction. It's unfortunate that our little Ukrainian wonder boy, who's now at Arsenal, stepped up and did what he used to do for us in the 91st minute. That's a pity, because I think a draw would have started to, put a bit of pressure on Arsenal. But all in all, you've got to be fairly happy with that. Not vintage City, not our best, but one of our better performances, if not our best performance, probably since Copenhagen. So it is actually starting to go in the right direction. I make Liverpool at home an exception to that because it was a friendly that counted for nothing. But yeah, I think we've got to be relatively pleased.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you, Rich. Totally with you. What we're gonna do, Rich, you have to go now, don't you, mate?
I do, yeah.
Big thank you to you, Rich. Rich,
no worries.
He may be back Monday or Tuesday. We're gonna have a discussion off air because we're gonna do a bit of a transfer show where we're gonna touch on Perone tonight, but we'll also go into that a bit more.
Okay.
Monday or Tuesday. Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Will do. Thank you. Bye.
Right, then there were 3. Right, let me just fly through some of these. Touch Suarez, 81 games, Street 7 out of hat-tricks, HAALAND and us. HAALAND did it in 18. There you go. I love Atkinson, best ref in the league. Super City disagrees, says we didn't concede out a lot. For me, there are plenty, which I don't think we were stable, but slightly better. Did he have plenty of chances? I think maybe I'm seeing a different game than some today. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I think I'm seeing a bit of a different game. But I know Super City is a bit of a pessimist anyway. He is a bit of a miserable son. So, don't bother me. I can go 90 minutes without Scran. Dear me, you sound like somebody else I used to know. Can't beat me, no chipper. No, you can't. And we're just saying bye-bye to Rich. Right. So we talked about it. So we're going at 0-0 at half-time. I don't think Wolves... I thought probably 0-0. Did anyone think that flattered Wolves, or was you happy at 0-0? Did you come out thinking we're going to smash these second half? Was anyone slightly a bit twitchy bum time, bit worried, bit not sure on this one? No. I saw a lot of that at half time again. Oh, we're 0-0. We're not winning. What's going on?
No, because I mentioned at the top of the show, Wolves didn't offer anything going forward. They're just playing. Their attackers just doing exactly what has been expected of them the whole season. I think. I don't know if anybody can bring up the stats in the chat or anything, but I think they have to have probably the.
Sorry, by the way,
least amount of goals scored in the Premier League this season.
I forgot the HAALAND header.
Yeah, I mean the HAALAND header at 40 minutes was just perfect timing because it just meant that we could go into halftime.
Because it was on halftime, virtually.
Yeah, it was perfect timing for to put us in good stead for the rest of the game. But as I mentioned in the first half, it was just Wolves didn't offer anything in attack, which is prime example of the fact that I think they're probably the lowest scoring team in the Premier League, or definitely one of the lowest scoring teams in the Premier League. And then the game opened up for us perfectly in the first 10 minutes of the second half, because then all of a sudden their defense decided to switch off.
Yeah,
and it was a case of just perfect timing, and the fact that we were consistent across the whole board for the game. The damage was done at the right time, and it just meant that we could cruise for the last 35, 40 minutes of the game.
I've got to give a special moment here. I mean, I said it at the very start of the show. There was a lot of questions on Kevin De Bruyne today. Think coming in for the Julian Alvarez. But that cross for the opening goal, sublime. That was just KDB at his best for me.
Do you know what I liked about it?
Lovely, delicious cross.
Rico threw a couple in earlier, and then Kevin's just come and said, "No, mate, this is how you do it." I like that.
It was like,
yeah, and it was kind of funny too, because you see when like HAALAND scored and he went to go celebrate with De Bruyne. De Bruyne was just catatonic. He didn't make any sort of motions. He wasn't like buzzing about it. It was just like to me, it almost felt like as if it was just like, "Nah, mate, this is how you do it." Like, I just got a real kick out of that. I just thought it was quite amusing.
See, Super City, I think you're wanting some of that ain't there anymore, mate. You're wanting this Saturday Sterling in job. Ain't there no more, mate. You gotta get over it. Park it. I keep saying this. Will you park the Sterling Sane fantasies, please? They've gone. Park the. People, honestly, City fans want these two wingers to go ping, ping, ping for Haaland just to go hello all day long, and it ain't happening. I keep saying it. Like, it's not happening. I mean, obviously, we're going 1-0. Wolves made a couple of changes which surprised me. Obviously, Baby Oil Man, who, by the way, right, I'm sorry. One thing I'm going to say here, there was one of them in the I think it was the first half, but he goes down. Nobody touches him. He trips over his own foot. I think
and then he goes sliding for about 12 feet. Yeah.
And the referee gives a free kick. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm shouting he slipped on his baby oil. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was awful.
You think like the refs say like put the ball at the spot of the foul. It's like, where's the player? He's nowhere near the spot of the foul.
Yeah. Well, you had to put it there. Hang on, what?
Yeah, where did he go?
Tripped on the turf, ref, and you give it, you clown.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get. No, but I mean, I will say the Wolves bench. You might have seen this, I'm not sure I'm showing it on TV. The Wolves bench were very, very active today. They were not happy with Mr. Coots. They were at him from the off. They were really at him, really in his face. The assistant manager got booked. I think it was the assistant manager. It didn't look like
no, Lopetegui got booked too. He got booked in the. He got booked even before the quarter hour mark.
Was it him who got booked?
It was Lopetegui. Yeah, it was Lopetegui. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he got booked on the 14th minute, and that was the third yellow card that had Kilman got a yellow card at the 10th minute, and Lamina got one in the 13th. So they were proper riled up.
The thing is for Wolves is that obviously they're just hovering above the relegation spot at the moment, and their form has been pretty awful. The big thing for them is that they've had no one really up front for a while scoring prolific goals. They're a team that have got some really good individual players, and at one stage over the last few seasons, they've been a proper team. It's not just been about individuals with the skill that they've got, but it's actually been about a team mentality. And that's kind of been lost. Last season was all right for them, but it wasn't a great season. And this season, they've replaced a manager yet again. He's coming with his own style, his own what he wants, and he seems to have not got it quite right yet. So they're a team where you want to see them still in the Premier League, but you're just fearing for them a little bit, because they go down, they're going to lose a lot of their players. I mean, it's going to be a free for all for their players. Let's be honest, because they have got some players that would stay in the Premier League, if not go somewhere else. So they've got to get it right. And obviously today wasn't that day, but you can understand why they'd be getting passionate, why they'd be getting annoyed, because these are big decisions that if they go against them, they're going to slip into that relegation fight. I mean, they're already in it, but they'll slip into the relegation. So,
but Aussie too, since Lopetegui came in, their form hasn't actually been that bad. Before this game, they'd had 2 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss, and I think they beat Liverpool. Liverpool. They beat West Ham. No.
They did beat Liverpool. It just
doesn't count. Yeah. In a different
competition. Just didn't count.
Yeah, 100%. But they beat West Ham in what was effectively also a relegation scrap as well too. So while we look at on paper that they're not exactly the most dominant team or effective team going forward, you do feel like there's enough in that team that they have they have enough in them to hit 40 points or to see the Premier League next season.
They should, but I do worry for them because I know you're saying that they have scraped a few goals, a few matches, rather by draws or just the one win against West Ham. But in all honesty, that's not enough to keep you in this league.
Do you know what I was looking at earlier? I was looking at the stats of the game. Now, what I found baffling, and maybe it was me, or maybe it was City near the end. because as normal, we took our foot off the gas a little bit, 3-0, with 10, 15 minutes to go, which probably you're going to do, aren't you? You know, conserve a bit of energy and all that. Well, I'm looking at it, and Wolves had 45% possession. At one point, I thought we'd had about 75% possession. They had 10 shots.
They had more shots on goal than us in the second half, I think.
No, they only had 1 shot on target, but they had 10 shots. One on target.
Just shots on goal in general. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 shots. I'm like, but when did these 10 shots come? But then I think I'm forgetting a little bit about that last 10, 15 where City took the finger off it a little bit. And I think we relaxed down and we were a bit more conserve energy, things like that. The one thing I will say, obviously, we go in at 1-0, we come out, make the change, Aki on for Rico. And I've got to say, I mean, obviously it was a penalty. Haaland slots it away nicely, but I want to talk about the third goal. And I've seen I have seen from rivals tapping merchant. So all he is a tapping merchant. But I'm sat there. Riyad Mahrez's pressing game was just, it was all Riyad Mahrez, that goal for me. Press, bang, got it. Made the error. And Haaland made me laugh because it was right behind me. And I'm watching that defender running back in the goal. And I'm like, is Haaland going to, what's he going to do with this? And Haaland sort of delays it for half a second. And you can see him picking his spot. He's watching the defender where he's going. He's literally watching him. Where's he going? Right, there's my spot. Bang.
Do you know what I like with the man? Do you know what I like with the finish? You saw how he delayed it. What I liked is, and if you see the reaction, I think it was Nathan Collins who was the defender on the line, hoping to try and block that shot. It was almost like Haaland delayed his shot to where he waited until Collins was flat-footed, because then it meant that he could go left or right of him, and he would just be. It would be all at sea. Because you look at Nathan Collins' reaction when he puts it away, he's just flat-footed. He makes no movement whatsoever. So I think it's creative, and it just shows how talented of a player he is, where he's able to, delay or disrupt his shot.
It's also impressive that he thinks that quickly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, you're talking nanoseconds of thought. Do you know what I mean?
Because to break Yusuf's heart here a little bit. Right, Yusuf, I'm going to say this to you now. I said to you 4 or 5 weeks. I said it to you 3 months ago. Your owners weren't after selling. They were after a stakeholder to come in and buy shares of your football club. And you all ignored me. No, they want to sell. And then I think it was, 4 days ago? Statement came out saying, we are still looking for further shareholders for investment within the club.
So it's not necessarily new owners. It's more like an example.
It's never been new owners.
I think LeBron James owns like 5 or 6% of Liverpool. They'd be saying like, "Hey, LeBron, do you want to be like majority?"
It's never been new owners for Liverpool.
Do you want to move that up to 30% or something? Yeah.
Liverpool have decided to make this whole story up. If you actually ask anyone, every single statement out of FSG has been, we're after more stakeholders in to come and give us more money. Yeah. They've never mentioned about selling. It's like turned into United have, but Liverpool haven't. So
I'm still not convinced that United owners are actually going to sell. I mean, because even if they are wanting to sell, I mean, they're wanting more than the Chelsea sale. I think it's looking like 6 billion they want for United. And I just think, United owners are quite happy where they are, because I think if they weren't doing as well as they were, I think then maybe. But I think because they've brought in a manager who's got them into the top 4, okay, they've had to spend some money again, but the revenue they still get, I just think that they're making silly money still from United. So I think, fans are still hoping for this sale, but I just don't think it's going to happen, if I'm honest. I think it may be similar to what you're thinking as well, Martin, that they may just ask for more investment.
Yeah. I don't get the selling bit. Says it here, look, Liverpool owners won't sell. They only want a small portion of investment. That was 3 days ago. I don't know where this story of Liverpool were getting sold came out from. So it's like it's been made up in their own head. I don't quite get where it's come from, but never mind. That's their problem. Obviously, 3-0 up. Really clever for me. Takes HAALAND off. Bring Alvarez on. Love that. Thought that was brilliant. Thought that was a lovely bit of man management from Pep. Who, can I just say, has clearly starting to make subs now at very important times. Half-time subs are happening. 60-minute subs are happening. We're taking off the right players at the right time. He's got his hat-trick. We don't need to push him further. Come and have a rest. Got a standing ovation, 4th hat-trick of the season. He's now broken the record for the top goal scorer for last year. Was it Salah and Son? Both got 23,
correct,
24, whatever it was last year. And Haaland's now surpassed that. So, yeah, it's took him August, September, October, November, December. It took him 5.5, 6 months to break that little record. How many goals is he actually?
I believe he broke the record for fastest to 4 hat-tricks in the Premier League too. So, 19 games? Yeah. And that beats a certain Ruud van Schickenschnitzelrooy by about 45 matches, I think.
Yeah. I mean, how many goals do you think Haaland's going to get, Pat? Start with you.
Are we going higher or lower, or just a
throw me a number. Okay. I've heard 50 today. I've heard some.
And we're talking Premier League or all competitions?
We'll do both. Let's start Premier League.
Okay. Premier League, I'm going to go with 39. 39. I think it'll just finish just short of 40. I do.
He'll miss a penalty on the final day of the season.
Possibly, yeah. A dead rubber match, yeah. And in all competitions, here will be sort of like low to mid 50s.
Ooh.
I think we might see him pick up his goal tally in the Champions League, and his Premier League tally will be consistent. It won't be blowing everybody away, but it'll just be consistent for the remainder of the year.
Go on, Ozzy, what do you think?
Well, I'm personally hoping he's going to score 40 plus. Just because I had a small little bet that he would score 40 plus goals. So I'm really hoping that comes to fruition. But I think he's more than capable, if I'm honest. I think, he's scored 25 goals just in the Premier League, and we're only just at the halfway point, so if he carries on like this, I think he can break the record. And for all competitions, I think we've got a good chance at getting to the later stage of the Champions League with him, and I think, we're still in the FA Cup, so I think he could be hitting 50. I really do. For all
in
competitions.
Everything.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
It's going to be plus 50 for all cons.
Sub 2 says there's no going to. I'm not writing the Pig United bit. Where's that come from? There's not going to be any records left at this rate. HAALAND eating records for breakfast.
I don't want to talk too much about records because, let's be honest, he's bagging this many goals in his first season. Let's see what next season brings. Pending injuries, God forbid. But let's see what next season brings. Because if he's doing this while he's still, coming to terms with a new team, a new manager, a new system, completely different or very, very different to what he was used to for X amount of years at Dortmund and obviously at Salzburg. Let's enjoy what he's doing now, but the sky's the limit for what he could do next season.
And I think it's scary because, Martin, you were talking about, and what we've talked about before on the channel is that City are going through another bit of a transformation. There are certain players that are more than likely going to leave in the summer. There's more likely going to be new players coming in. And, I just think if Pep can build this team around Haaland to score more goals, then it's going to get frightening for the rest of the league and for the rest of Europe, really, because his ceiling is, he's still 22, and he's his future with City is just looking more and more incredible. And like you said, hopefully, Pat, there are no injuries, and
he's not even in his prime yet.
No, exactly.
Technically, he's 5 years off his prime.
He has still got the release clause on.
Well, I know City are looking to renegotiate that, aren't they? I think they probably won't even try and do that until the end of the season. But if he's happy and he's productive and he's winning things, he may stay. He's
as long
as
as
the best manager.
The problem is
we're release clause FC, so worst case,
we'll
just buy his own release clause anyway.
No, that's the only thing. If Real Madrid do think one day, you know what, we've got 200 million, we've got 150, whatever it is, and whack it in, there's not a lot we can do. Then it is down to Haaland stays and goes. So
yeah,
that's
but like
why
I said, if he
made that
decides
decision in the summer.
Yeah, but if he decides he wants to stay, it doesn't matter if Real Madrid come in with the release clause. If he turns around and goes, actually,
yeah, my only thing is, Austin, why ask for it in the first place?
Because
he's asked for that.
I know he has, but you got to remember this: it's not just him; it's his father, it's the management team behind him. They've had a plan, and that plan has gone really well for him. But he's becoming more of an adult now. He's 22 years age. He's doing fantastically well in a city that loves him. A fan base that I just couldn't praise him anymore, and a manager who I think, even though maybe didn't want him originally, I think if he keeps on producing what he's doing, why not? But only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to him. And like I said, for me at the minute, I think he's here for a good time, not a long time. But we just enjoy it. If we get rid of it, we can negotiate that clause out, then great. But it will cost us a lot of money to get that release clause out, no doubt. Right. We did go on to win the game. Unless anyone's got anything else they want to say about the game, we did go 2 points behind. Arsenal did pull out the last-minute winner. Personally, for me at the moment, I wouldn't say... I'm not looking at Arsenal. I'm not bothered about Arsenal right now. To me, because the way I look upon it is we have 2 games with Arsenal in the league. So that negates anything that's going on at the moment with Arsenal. What I want is just for us to get back to being ourselves right now. Playing our football, ticking off the games. And from what I read tonight as well, Sam Lee's come out with it and a couple of others, that apparently there was a summit meeting after the derby. I don't know if anyone's read this. There was a summit meeting between all the squad and the captains, and a few things got aired. Does anyone remember... Was it Chelsea when was it when Fernandinho went on his massive rant? What game was it? When Fernandinho went absolute bang, right, I'm having it, boys. Every single one of you is getting it in this dressing room.
Can't remember. Was that the lockdown season? Was that the lockdown season?
Yeah.
It might have been Chelsea, and it might have been Chelsea went to Stamford Bridge, and I think we won 3-1.
Might have been Chelsea.
I think it was like one of Frankie Lampard's last games as Chelsea manager. And it sort of just really kickstarted.
No, I thought it was the 1-1, but I've got a feel I have got Chelsea in my head for some reason.
Yeah.
Unless Chelsea was the next game. But anyway, there was a game. Apparently, they've done that again at the Swamp, where they went, right, we're sorting this out. This stops now. Yeah. And what I like is, if you notice, it was at the same time when the Athletic article came out with the 7 subs, or the seven players that were not pulling their weight within this football team. And then lo and behold, all 7 were bang on the bench at Tottenham. And only one of them came on. Take Diaz out, Diaz wasn't part of it, but only one of them came on in Bernardo Silva. Now, if you remember, Pep mentioned about I'm going to be the nice guy this year. I want to be everyone's mate. I want to get everyone on side. I think he's thought, balls to that now. I'm going back to being a ruthless sod. I'm not having it. Obviously, this nice approach hasn't worked. Some of the squad have took total advantage out of this. And what I liked today, there wasn't a lot of changes. We played Thursday night. I was expecting far more changes out of that today. There wasn't. There was 2. There's players within the squad Pep ain't trusting right now. I think one of them is Bernardo Silva. Don't think he trusts him. I think one of them is quite clearly Calvin Phillips. I'm going to talk. You want to talk about Calvin Phillips? It's fine. I've been told not to go in on him too much, but he didn't impress me again today. Sorry, I know it was only 10, 15 minute spell, but he looks so out of his depth. It's quite scary. But I'm giving him time because he's coming back from injury and he's a brand new player. I always give time, but what bothered me at the minute, he looked very, very much out of his depth. Big time at the minute. We got in the car today, and first thing my nephew said, and they don't never go in on a player. They never go in on a player. First thing my nephews went was Calvin Phillips looks like he's won a competition and landed in a City shirt. And it was like, what? And I'm like, I'll have to go back and watch. So I went back and watched, and I was like, yeah, I kind of get what they mean. He looks like he's a bit starstruck. Now, I know Grealish said it at the beginning. He was starstruck. So I don't know.
Martin, in that case, do you feel like Calvin Phillips would probably be our first candidate to, well, probably one of the first players we should monitor at the start of next season, especially like in pre-season, in terms of getting the match fitness, maybe starting your season off a little bit earlier, trying to hit the ground running, trying to hit the ground running for next season. You don't think he may not be here next season?
I think something's got to change for him to not disappear in the summer.
Be quite surprising though from City to bring in a player and then immediately get rid, especially someone of Calvin Phillips' stature. In England's international, has done well, with Leeds. For them to cut ties after one season, an injury season, would be a bit surprising. I'd understand possibly if next season, if he was not performing and he had a full season and they just went, it's just not working, Calvin, we need to kind of talk about your future and do what's best for you, then maybe. But I would be extremely surprised, Martin, if he went in the summer. So
I think if the rumours like the West Ham rumours are true and it involved a swap deal with somebody else, then I think they may do it. There's a lot of uncertainty on him at the moment. A lot of uncertainty on him.
I think a lot of things have to happen, before that even comes up. So, like you said,
I think Pep might be getting a bit ruthless, which, by the way, I quite like. I'm with Ozzy. I'd like to give him more time, but I think Pep's. I love the fact that Pep's decided I'm going back to being a ruthless sod.
It depends on who goes in the summer, though, Martin, with midfield as well, because if we lose Gundo, we lose Bernardo Silva.
Looks like Gundo's staying.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know there've been conflicting reports. There was rumours only the other day that, he pretty much was ready to sign for Barca,
from the Barca media, though.
Yeah, I know. But again, rumours have now come out today saying, well, actually, extend it. And I'm leaning more towards that probably being true, because that's what City normally do, is they'll extend, like they did with Fernandinho, extend for another year and keep him around the squad. My biggest issue is that he'll be exactly like in Fernandinho's position, where his legs are going to go again, and you can't just rely on an Asian player to play 38 games.
Yeah, well, Ozzy, I said on a previous show about Gundogan, I said he's definitely now every 7-day player. And I think De Bruyne is maybe one season away from De Bruyne is borderline every 3 days to every 7 days. He's kind of in between at the moment.
You say that, who's been probably one of our best midfielders the last 2 games, and they're only 2.5 days apart.
Well, it's Jack Grealish.
And Gundogan.
Did Gundogan play against Spurs? I've gone blank. I thought he didn't play. I don't think he played. No, I don't think he
But
played.
Gundogan played against Spurs because he was great today.
Yeah.
He was great today, Gundogan. I
Mm.
thought he was back to his best today, Gundogan. I thought he was really up for it. I thought Gundogan played some part on Thursday.
He did. He did. He started the game, but he went off at
I thought he did.
81 minutes.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought
So,
he played.
Yeah.
I thought he was great the last 2 days, 2 games.
I don't think he was amazing at the Spurs game, but he had a part to play. But I don't think he was. I'm just going on.
I mean, it's all opinions, but the simple fact is, at the minute, I think Pep's just basically what I'm trying to get to is Pep's decided to get to a very ruthless stage now, and I quite like it. And I like the fact is, if you're not going to train and you don't care, you're sitting on a bench and you're not moving.
Mm.
And I like it.
Do you know who appears to be really in his bad books at the moment from lack of game time, and you just don't see him that often? Is João Cancelo.
Oh, I thought we were getting to the juicy part. Thought we were going to the.
João just seems out of favour. It just seems out of favour. His body language too, when you see him, whether it's on the bench or if he does play, it just doesn't look. It doesn't look promising.
Yeah, and now
I think he's a bit. I think he's playing like he's a bit bitter about Rico Lewis.
Funny though, because I mean, you'd think because he's been playing predominantly on the left-hand side, so I think he's more pissed off that he's got an Ake, a centre back, playing in his position. You had Laporte playing in his position today, so for him not even to get a start because a centre back is playing in his position, I think is more worrying because Rico Lewis is keeping Kyle Walker out at the moment. But
I think that might change next game, though.
Well, I think it probably will. If I'm honest, I think it will, and I still think Walker's got a huge part to play in the season. So
yeah. Let's get to it then. Phil Foden. There's been conflicting reports today. Some have said Pep's come out and said he's got a foot injury. Others have said he was at the boxing last night. Suddenly, I want to believe the foot injury, I do. I really do. But he's not played for God knows how long now.
There's obviously something going on. And whether it's...
And he was in the stand.
Form. Yeah, there's obviously something going on, and then we're not privy to. And usually this kind of stuff eventually comes out, and I'm a little bit surprised it hasn't. Because you get at least a flavour of something going on. I mean, I know he hasn't played brilliantly, but from the games that he has been in, I felt he hasn't particularly got the service. I don't always. This is just from my opinion. I don't think he's had the service. I think he's been, there was he played in midfield, didn't he? At one stage, was it not the last Spurs game before? And I think he did really well. I think we talked about it, saying we could see him more in the midfield in the future. That's his natural position. And then he went off the boil a little bit. Didn't really get the game time or the service, like I said before. So, but obviously there's more going on. And whether this foot injury is true or not, I mean, he's up for debate right now. But as you were saying before, Martin, Pep is being ruthless with certain players. Is he being more so with Foden?
Pat.
Yeah, man. I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make of the Phil situation.
I'll be honest. I don't believe he's injured. I'll be straight now. I don't believe it. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. For the simple fact is, Phil Foden has been not playing well for weeks now, weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm going to be straight. I disagree with Ozzy. Ozzy knows that. I think he was hopeless at Old Trafford. Hopeless at Anfield. He just doesn't want to know at the minute. I don't know why. I don't know.
Do you think, Martin? I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there, but I mean, obviously, he got his new contract.
That's when it all started, though. That's where you keep coming back to an endpoint, isn't it? The dip happened when the contract got signed. And that's my thing. It is a dip because it's not 2 or 3 weeks. It's not two. He wasn't playing football. Do you know when this actually began? Anfield away is when this all began with Foden. Ever since that performance at Anfield, he's gone.
When you put it that way, actually, and you think of every fixture after that, you don't remember any sort of standout performances from him.
There you go. It was Anfield away when this began. I literally went back and traced all of it. I thought he dipped him in and out of cup games, dipped him in and out of the occasional Premier League game. But other than that, he wasn't playing before the World Cup. Now, my only hope is, I remember Pep saying, was it 2 years ago, that Foden's rise to fame will mean he gets a dip. There will be a dip. I'm just hoping this is a dip. If the rumours are true, what I've heard today at the ground doesn't mean I know for a fact that the guy was at the boxing last night. I would love somebody to try and actually confirm this or not. But we know Phil likes to go to boxing and likes to have a drink and everything else and gets out on his holidays
and be in close proximity to a fire extinguisher.
And he likes the ladies. And listen, I just put it down to the guy's still a young lad.
Yeah. Which is what I was getting to. It's like a dip in form at 22 is a lot different to a dip in form at 28.
Yes. Different and let's be honest, as Rich has said, some of the English players have come back from the World Cup not in a great state of mind because of the Gareth Southgate training methods. Keep having a pint was how Gareth wanted to get these lads fit, ready for the World Cup. Fine, that's all right, Gareth. Off you go, sunshine. Doesn't help Manchester City, though. So, I don't know. This is Phil's challenge now. I want Phil to step up now and go, right. KDB was conveniently had personal reasons on Thursday, on Wednesday in training. Didn't play Thursday. If you all recall, had a face like a smack bottom through the whole game, muttering away at his teammates, if you all remember it. Then goes on today and performs. Now, I'm hoping this is where Phil Foden comes in. Okay, right. I've learnt my lesson. I've had a few weeks, 7-8 games where I've been sat on the bench and not performed. Right, give me my place back. Because the problem is he's got, if you look at Pep Guardiola at the minute, he goes into press conferences. Last night when he come out, who did he talk about? Akanji, Rico Lewis, Grealish. What did he talk about? Desire, fight, passion.
Hunger.
Do you know who
Hunger.
This situation slightly reminds me of, and I'm afraid it's going to be someone across the road, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Marcus Rashford right now. You know, Marcus Rashford is an extraordinary talent. You know, we've all said that in the past, that, you know, he is a great player for United and England.
But obviously, a good human being.
A very good human being. I have nothing but praise for him and his charity work that he's done. But obviously, you know, it hit him over the last couple of seasons where his form was poor. He was completely out of the United side for quite a while. A lot of the fans are getting on his back. But I think, you know, the talent is there. And now this season, and especially coming back from the World Cup, he has just been a man possessed. He's been on form. And I think that's something that Foden needs to kind of look at now himself and go, this is what I need to do to get back into this team. I need to speak to my mate Rashford and learn from him right now. Because I would hate, because I'm going to mention another United player right now, I would hate for him to kind of go down the Sancho route where he's completely away from the team, completely ostracised, and completely just like his mind will go. And that's the last place that Foden needs to be right now. So I'm hoping that Pep and the rest of the team behind the scenes are going to be able to kind of manage Foden in the way that United have with Rashford. Getting back to that talented young man on the field, because we know he's got it and we know he can produce it. It's just now getting him in that mindset.
I'm loving the comments there. Someone like set up a soup kitchen. There's someone all coming out here. Do you know where my doubts about? Because people will go, Pep said he's injured, Martin, so he's injured. I get that. Now, read Pep's words. He's had a foot injury for a little while. Can't play today because of the foot injury. Can't be on the bench today because of the foot injury. Can someone remind me of the bench for Thursday night? Anyone? Anyone got the bench for Thursday night for me?
Stand by.
And who was it? Ozzy knows exactly where I'm going here. I'm not having within a day and a half he's not fit for the bench. And then suddenly he's fit Thursday when he's had a foot injury for a few weeks. But what's he done? Climb the stairs a bit too hard in a day? Just so happens to be the day after the boxing. Come on, we're not stupid, Pep. We're not daft. We're not silly buggers, You can't stick him on a bench Thursday night and then, oh, he's not fit for the bench Sunday. Sorry, that's not allowed.
When your next game is 6 days away.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Not silly, Pep. I didn't come over on the last you know what. Do me a favour, Pep. Don't pretend we're all silly.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, Martin, I mean, footballers seem to forget, and I don't know why, but there are these things called, smartphones that have cameras and social media.
It'll be like that.
Yeah.
You can't see me. It'll come out. It'll all come out in the wash. Do you know? It did with Sterling. Do you remember we did all this with Sterling? Pep and Sterling fell out, and everyone was like, Pep's like, my friend, love him, love Raheem.
Didn't play him.
Didn't play him then. No, come on. It's like, come on. I get you don't want to wear it in dirty laundry, but it's just, I don't think you're watching Phil, but come on, Phil. Sort it out, lad. Sort it. You're a young lad. You've got the world at your feet. You've got a lovely family. Sort it, son. Remember, you're a Manchester City fan. You won't get this opportunity again, Phil. Your dreams have all come true, mate. Most players dream of going to their football club. You're at it. Don't chuck it away. Exactly. You're scoring hat-tricks against United and then you just want to go and chuck it all down the toilet. Come on, Phil. Sort it, lad. Nobody wants it more for you than your own fans. Your fans. The same as you, mate. Sort it out. Come on, Phil.
Do you think the United hat-trick might have gotten to his head a bit? Not really delusions of grandeur, but he just got on his high horse and hasn't got off yet.
No, I know. I never said he skipped the game. I said he was dropped from the game. But my point is, is that he was okay for Thursday night. No mention of the foot injury, and then he's out today, and then the foot injury comes out, and he's had it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The thing is, Patrick, I mean, the thing is that we players, when they've got that arrogance, like, you think of like Cristiano Ronaldo, of I am the best player in the world and I proved it and I will continue to prove it. And he has, do you know what I mean? So, if you've got that kind of arrogance, and there's nothing wrong with that kind of arrogance if you produce it on the field, but you can't just have that arrogance and then...
Or how you control it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one does know, but I think we all know that he's not really got this foot injury and he's not really sat there. We know that. We're not silly. Of course he was, Colonel Ward. He's holding them all back for the Champions League.
It's a month away from today. So.
He's like the top total optimist. We're going to win the Champions League. He's holding all these boys back. We're all named for being lazy gits, but now they're all right again.
Yeah. They're just, Martin, they're just waiting for you to be proven wrong when he bags a brace or bags the winner in Istanbul.
Listen, I hope so. Listen, can I just say, by the way, I was going to mention this and I can't remember. I'm totally going out my head now. I'm going to go in and give him that, that rah-rah speech that you all got on the channel last night that Ozzy and Rich had no idea was going up on the channel till I literally threw it up because I was peeved off with the way the City fan base was going. But no, I have got full autonomy on, so no, behave, Ozzy, I can just throw out my own initiatives now and again. So I did do, and,
And you really did.
And I really did. I really went for it. Thought I was on the Early Bird podcast. Let's go. But, at the end of the day, I'm sure.
Here he goes with the algorithms.
Foden will come back. Did your algorithm go up?
What?
Did your algorithm go up?
You'll have to speak to Danny.
You don't want to admit it on the air.
Yeah. No, I generally don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. So that's why I have to speak to Danny, okay? And then, Danny, just don't tell me.
You're welcome. Cheers, me later. I'm sending you an invoice, Danny. I'm Pat and Jeff. You're all getting invoices.
Feelings mutual then, dickhead.
Excuse me. We lend you rich.
What are you talking about?
All right, boys, calm it down.
We lend you rich, sunshine. No, I'm joking. Listen, I'm sure Foden will come back. I'm sure whoever doesn't want to be at Manchester City, I assure you now, will get the exit door. Pep doesn't suffer fools gladly. I think there's one thing we know is I think Bernardo's coming to his end in some form or fashion. I think we know that now. I think we can tell with that one. Probably Cancelo, one of us. I think Gomez is suddenly now. Probably won't surprise me come January in 9 days' time if Gomez is not shipped out on loan somewhere.
We haven't seen him.
I'd say Juventus, but they're in a bit of bother, so they might not be getting him.
That's it. I mean, that's probably something you'll put on for your transfer show later in the week. But off the top of your head now, if there was a top three of the current squad that you could see leaving in the summer, who would it be?
Go on, right. Anthony Almar has been asking us for 20 minutes all these transfer questions. What we'll do is, how long have you two got?
You
got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't start work for 6 hours, so I'm all right.
Tell you what, for the next 5-10 minutes, so we'll let you throw Q&A out because it went well, and everyone's been asking us about transfers, so we'll do a little bit of transfer to wrap them all up. Go on, Oz.
Well, there's a question for me actually.
It's the same one he asked me, but I was trying to hold it back because I didn't want to. I was trying to hold back on it.
I haven't got the comments out, guys. So just if there's anything for me, just yell it out to me.
Basically, Anthony just asked me and Ozzy about who would we sell in midfield.
Honestly, we've just said it really. Bernardo Silva. I know a lot of City fans probably don't want him to go. There's obviously a big section of the City fan base who love him, and I do. But I can't condone the way he's been. Especially with his last interview, that was the straw for me that kind of and Martin noticed I kind of have said that I've always defended him and I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but that last interview was a straw that broke the camel back for me, and I just thought, no, you've made your intentions very clear, and you've not done it in the right way, and I think City will definitely kind of go, whatever we can get for you in the summer, you're off, and I think we'd be lucky if we got 60 million, if I'm honest. I think he's worth a lot more than that, but with 2 years left on his contract and him sending out clear messages that I want to go now, you'd be lucky to get 60 million. So he's my top choice to go out the door. Pat, I'll throw it to you. Where are you at?
Yeah, well, I was just going to add on to what you said about Bernardo, where you feel like for the last 2 or 3 seasons now, including this season, that the way that he sort of handled the the idea of leaving Manchester City has gradually gotten less and less. I don't know if appealing is the right way, or just like it's just left a slightly more bitter or sour taste in our mouth with when it's been discussed, because I think the first discussions came up about 2 seasons ago about it, and we're like, oh, okay, but you are still performing day in day, week in week out for us on the pitch, and then the conversation got a little bit, it became a bit, it heated up a little bit more last season. But then obviously he had that interview with City and that with his girlfriend walking Johnny's dog and everything, and he was just honest about the way he felt and how he sort of righted some wrongs and with the club and proved that by performing brilliantly on the pitch. This season though, it's just become it's gone a lot more further south. The way he feels about the club, the way he wants to move on, and as you said, Oz, in that last interview, certainly didn't put him in in a good place with the fans and that. So yeah, while it will be disappointing to see him go, I just think now's the time to get some financial gain out of it. In terms of other players that I think are going to leave, I just think given the rise of Rico Lewis, I think we may be seeing João Cancelo go out the door, because with Rico coming through now, I think we're close to having a surplus of right backs now, and I just cannot see Kyle Walker leaving anytime soon. I think he offers still too much, as a defender, and that speed has hardly diminished, even though he's on the wrong side of 30 now. And I think João is just he's kind of in a sense of purgatory at the moment, where it's like, he plays left back for a bit and he may have glimpses of good form in that, but he doesn't put it up for long periods of time. And I think now might be a good opportunity just to cash in on him.
You could be right. I'd be a bit surprised in some respects. I mean, I know his form has dipped a little bit, and he's not played for a while. But I think if you can get the best out of him, he's still at a good age where he can still do a lot for this team. I think the only way that I think he'll go is if we get. I know Rico Lewis is doing very well, but I think I agree with Martin. It's still early days. He's still a young guy. He's still got a lot to prove. And for me, I don't think City will let him go without bringing in somebody. And whether that's is it Guardiol? The
Guardiol,
Leipzig,
the Croatian defender from
the Croatian defender, which I think he's a brilliant young defender. Again, could play centre back, can play left back.
Yeah.
I think unless they bring someone like him in,
which is why it's good we're playing Leipzig in the next round of the Champions League too, because I think a lot of City fans will be on that Guardiola watch, seeing how he performs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him when we've played Leipzig quite a bit over the last couple of years. So we have seen him already play, and he is a very talented young man, and that's why he's been linked with not only us but Real Madrid and a few other clubs. So. I think, Pat, if we were to get someone like him in, then possibly, Cancelo goes out. But again, it depends, because he's still got quite a few years on his contract, and it's like who's going to come in and realistically spend that kind of money. I can only think of Real Madrid, but again, they haven't exactly got mountains of money. They're also looking at getting Mbappe in and. Because that's come back in the news lately. So, we'll have to see.
They owe us money for their stadium expansion.
Well, exactly.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do think there'll be some players out. I think Cancelo will leave, because I think Walker stays another year, because he's got 18 months left on a contract. We know he wants to go home to Sheffield United, and we know they're only going to be able to afford him on a free. So I think the idea is 2024, we see Walker go back to Sheffield United, and he ends his career there, back home. Bernardo Silva, I think the club would have helped Bernardo Silva leave on a bit cheaper. I think they've decided they're not going to do. I don't think they'll do that anymore. But the simple fact is Bernardo's opened his mouth again. I think the club as a whole have got peeved off with Bernardo now. Don't think they'll ever admit it, but I think they've had enough now. Every single window you keep opening your trap. We can't keep doing this. We know you want to leave. Stop now.
And I think it's
too much.
In some respects, I can understand it from his point of view because he's been wanting to leave for a while, and we've all said this. I don't know how many times, but City usually have the idea of that if a player wants to go, they're allowed to go, and he's been the only player to that, to that exception that he hasn't been allowed to go. Now, it could be that Pep has managed to kind of persuade him a little bit. There's also been the said to him like, we need a replacement for you, and we haven't got that person lined up yet. But this isn't going back. I mean, I know you alluded to it earlier, Pat, about saying it's been 2 seasons. It's been longer than that. It's actually been 3. There were rumours of this going back 3 seasons ago. That he was angling that he wanted to go. We're talking about before lockdown that he was kind of angling that he wasn't particularly happy, and and then all throughout lockdown we had it, that he wanted to go.
That's what I was referring to. Like the lockdown season was definitely the first time the fires were sparked.
Yeah,
and I get it. I do get why that can hurt you when you're away. I do get that. Lockdown was tough for everyone, especially for land.
But I think, Martin, the bigger thing is that other players have been allowed to go and he hasn't,
because I don't think anyone's offered the right money for him.
Yeah, I mean,
he still performed well for us because he knows what his worth is to the club. Yeah,
I think we've always been open to him going. I just don't think the offers ever come.
Well, the only club that has been linked with him really is Real Madrid. Barcelona.
And they've never bidded.
Well, they've not had the money, have they? They've had the flashing
and that's
seasons.
The problem.
But they've had the money for other
players.
So
place of literally limiting himself down to one club, but the club who had no money, and then but what he hasn't done is instead of shutting his mouth, he's gone again. And you're like, because I'll say something, I noticed it today. He come on today, and the claps weren't as loud. The cheers weren't as loud. Big Steve said it on his show the other day. He's losing the fan support now. That's not there anymore like it was last season when he got that rip-roaring cheer on, gut-wrenching cheer onto the stadium. Didn't get that today. It was a, hey.
He sadly for Bernardo Silva that his legacy is nearly becoming a Yaya Toure. Do you know what I mean? An exceptionally talented player, but just
it's slowly burning, burning away.
And I'd hate his legacy, and I'd hate that honesty because he's been one of the best players I think we've ever had at our club. Do you know what I mean? In the modern era, I think he's just been absolutely amazing. He came from Monaco being this out and out winger, and has become.
Here's a question for you both. Name me another player who's talked this publicly about leaving. Sterling wasn't like this.
No.
Juice wasn't like this.
I mean, I could only go back to the kind of the days of
thought about this the other day, and I went, there's not many actually make this so vocal about wanting out the door.
I can only think of certain players during Mancini's era that were kind of saying a few things, but usually these kind of things are kept in house, and players that want to go, they go. You look at like someone like I forgot his name now, top of my head. Barcelona player now went 2 seasons ago.
Ferran Torres.
Ferran Torres.
Yeah, although he sort of spoke up once he put pen to paper at Barcelona. Although I personally think the reason he did that was just because obviously probably Barcelona told him to do it.
Super City said Leroy Sané, but I don't think Leroy was this vocal. No. Not every window. Not every window.
No, I think it was just before his injury in the season where it was completely out. And he kind of said that he wasn't particularly happy. Him and Pep's relationship had broken down a bit, so there were some rumours.
Yeah.
I remember that, and then I think it wasn't up until like towards the end of that season that it was kind of what writing was on the wall that he was pretty much going to go.
Yeah. And with Sane too, it was definitely the pro Bayern German media that were the most vocal, more than anything in terms of Sane.
Well, that broke down City's relationship completely with Bayern Munich after that, didn't it? Because the way they behaved was just disgusting, really.
Yeah, and to add Der Spiegel on top of that as well too, which has been known as a relatively pro Bayern Munich outlet as well too.
Wow, we've actually gone up 5 subs, so we've been on air as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anyone who is new tonight, big thank you. I do appreciate that. I think we'll close it there, lads, before we end up going, because I've purposely left Perone alone.
Well, we can discuss
Pat wants to go into it, because I don't know if Pat's here Monday or Tuesday. It's probably going to be Tuesday when we get on. I don't know. I'm going to have to sit and run it out. I need to have a chat with Rich. It's getting rich. And Aussie's free for 2 days. It's getting rich together now. Pat, are you free tomorrow night if we did tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night, Tuesday morning here. Yeah, I've got the day off work, so I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's park all transfer talk. What we'll do is it's probably going to be tomorrow then.
Yeah.
I think Rich is busy Wednesday mornings.
I haven't had a chance to look into Perone yet, so after this, I'll jump on YouTube.
I'll give everyone 24 hours.
Compilations of Slovakian EDM music in the background.
What we'll do is it'll probably be about 9:15, 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
as well.
So but roughly same time.
Yeah, so we're getting it earlier. Aussies knows what we'll do is we're going to part this now here. Tomorrow night, we'll come back and do a transfer show. We'll call it transfer Q&A, whatever you want to call it, before anyone jumps in. We'll talk Perone. Perone sounds like some Italian mobster, doesn't it? He's an Argentine.
Well, you're almost sounding like the beer that I think they serve at the ETIHAD.
Yeah. No, it's
Asahi.
It's a chassis or something now.
Japanese.
Asahi, Japanese, yeah. Could be.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll park that there. Again, big thank you to every single person who has joined us. If you are new tonight, thank you for giving us an opportunity to come and entertain you. If we are your brand, come and have hit that subscribe button. We welcome all City fans from around the globe. We're Manchester
and other fans of other teams, because we're not completely biased. If you want to come on and have a genuine, discussion and we're always up for that.
We give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
And sorry, Martin, just before you go into, just on behalf of myself and Danny and Jeff, the Early Bird podcast team, big congrats on the 1K. And mate, looking forward to the road to 2000.
Well, on that, you may start seeing some. I've now requested everything that I've had to do paperwork-wise. You now might start seeing some ads. If you do, like we said we're not going to be doing Patreon or anything like this on this channel. Super chats will probably open soon. Again, that is your choice. We will never beg for super chats. We're not going to do that. If you want to do that one day, that's your opportunity. Don't think 1,000 was to get money. The only money we're ever looking at is from the ad revenue to help us pay for the software. That's the only thing we've ever looked at. And the ad revenue is free for you, ladies and gents, just to simply watch a 20-second ad. Where you come up to skip it, you don't skip it, you watch it. That's where our earnings come from. We're not in this to make a wage. We're not in this to quit jobs. We've all got important jobs. Trust me now, there's no we're quit. This is just a hobby, but we want to try and make a little bit of money just to cover our expenses on the software. There's a big difference, which is not a lot, but it's not cheap either, if that makes sense. Big thank you to every single one of you. Big thank you to everyone over the last few weeks. The views have gone through the roof. It really has. Absolutely gone through the roof. We're getting thousands plus now every stream, which is amazing. We even got 600 on my little rant last night, which I wasn't even expecting that. We're getting a couple of hundred now on the YouTube shorts. But what will that now? Shut up, Super Sir. What will that now do is at some point it takes about 2 weeks to do all paperwork and turn around. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can go live from the Etihad Stadium on match days.
God help us.
So you're going to be getting live streams from the stadium.
Make sure it's match days where he hasn't got that nagging little 7-year-old in the row behind him.
He's also going to be doing streams of him like at night.
Hot tub streams.
Going around the Etihad. Him driving around the Etihad, making sure it's still there. So look out for those.
Yeah. Look at this counterpart. It's getting home.
I had an argument with a steward on the car park today. Stephen Bennett, you're a legend. Thank you. And it's your channel. Always remember that. Also, Chamber Burnley season, you're very welcome on this channel, mate. Everyone is. 1K, congratulations. Super chats will be full on Alan. Why we brought him back? We brought him back close to 1,000. I'm joking. Alan's like, you cheeky bastard. I can't believe you said that. Thank you so much, Colonel Ward. Moderator should be £10 an hour.
Yeah.
You'll be charging me for all sorts.
Alan's put my kids through college.
Reaching the star, lads. No worries. Why it can't be a full-time job in a year's time. Hey, listen, with my back, I might need a second job. Well done. Listen, don't well done, Martin. It's Ozzy and Rich as well. And everyone else. It isn't just me. I know I'm the face, the ugly one. I get that, but it is these people as well. So, and there's people behind the scenes who you don't see. Some of them are in the chat under a pseudo name who you don't see that do help with the graphics, the intros, the exits, everything you see is all not just done by me, it's done by other people as well who deserve some amazing. There's also been other people on the chat that, doesn't matter, but we mentioned him, Rob and other people who've done amazing work. And without their contributions, we don't go anywhere.
Yep.
Yes, things have changed, things have moved on, but it's you got to look at what's happened as well in the past.
We don't forget where we came from, Martin.
Yeah, exactly. So I know he's not watching, but thank you to Rob as well. I know he's not watching. Well, he might be watching. He might be one of the pseudos. I don't know. But yes, big thank you to you as well. This is as much as yours as it is for us as well. Martin, live phone-ins, no chance. Congrats. Thank you very much. You should be paid. Great show. It's not about money for us, mate. But super chats are available if anyone else throw them in. Ozzy will get Ozzy's beard cut live on air. Cheers, Martin. I watch. He's like, hang on, what? Thank you very much, Alec. Right, what I'm going to do now, Rob isn't coming back. Might as well put the cat out the bag now. No, he's not coming back. He's gone. We've moved on. Parted ways. Doesn't matter. Things, but we just say thank you and we move on. Before we go, Pat, would you like to push your podcast, mate?
Yeah, for sure. Early Bird Podcast on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Spotify. We are also on Facebook. Episodes come out every week. We should have another one out when majority of our audience, the North America, European audience, should be waking up on Thursday morning. So something for you guys to look forward to for your brekkie. Otherwise, that's all really plugged for me. As I mentioned on our podcast, we are affiliated to the Sydney Blues, the official supporters group for Manchester City fans in Sydney, Australia. You can get us on Facebook there at MCFC Sydney and on Instagram at mcfc.sydneyblues. And again, that's the Early Bert Podcast, B-E-R-T, as in like Bertie Blue Nose. That's all I can really plug. And I look forward to putting out more shows and more content for everybody. And of course, our affiliation with Martin and the Mancunian Way is stronger than ever, and we'll continue to provide a good perspective and good information about City, but at the same time also be bloody entertaining for everybody.
And they just recently had their best podcast about it in a long time because they had some amazing guests.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah. Calm it down.
If you didn't know, they had me on.
Yeah.
No, you don't say, Martin.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Just for the record, too, there's no video involved with our podcast.
Yeah, there's no video. Jesus, you don't want to see two lots of me. No. There is video. It's just not recorded. I have to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's enough.
I purposely don't put myself on camera though.
Mate,
anyway,
so if you're free Wednesday night, we might even get you back on. If you
I am free Wednesday night.
Is
that Wednesday night, Thursday morning?
Correct. Yeah.
I am free because I don't work Thursday, Friday because I look after my parents, as you know. So yes, Wednesday night I am free.
Perfect. All right, we'll speak to you during the week anyway.
Yeah, and I think we'll be doing a show Wednesday, so it might work where we can roll out of one into another, actually.
Possibly, yeah.
Because I think, just to let you know, coming up this week, tomorrow we'll do the transfer show.
Yep.
Going to do the Arsenal preview Wednesday. There's going to be no Thursday show because Ozzy's not available, and plus I don't want to throw out. We've decided to throw a preview out Thursday when the game's Friday is a bit pointless because you won't get a chance to watch it. So we'd rather do it Wednesday and get it out so it gets the traction it deserves for Friday because the game's on Friday this week. If the game was Saturday or Sunday, we'd have done it Thursday, but it's not. It's Friday night.
That game's 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning for us. That's actually
what
quite
we're
a
going to do
friendly kickoff time for us.
Yeah, but me, Rich, and Ozzy, we're going to have the weekend off next weekend. We're going to have a deserved break next weekend. I think we all deserve it.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, that's what's coming up. Monday night, Wednesday night, and then Friday we'll do post-match after Arsenal. So you got 3 shows this week coming up. Ozzy's like, what? Smile? You're there 1,000! He's not that bothered.
You don't get
Anyway.
any credit, though.
Pardon?
I don't get any credit, but you know.
No, job well done.
Joking.
Oh, by the way, and I have also had contact with Jeff Whitley again. Jeff Whitley's coming on at the end of it, coming up at sometime in February because he's a very busy man. Now if you remember, he's now working with Robbie Savage at Macclesfield. But Jim Whitley, the former Manchester City midfielder, is going to come in and talk to us live on air.
Yeah, and Martin too. I have to mention as well. I think there was a breakdown in communication, but I think I was away overseas anyway. But we were hoping to do a podcast in the coming weeks where we're going to get Spencer Pryor on because Danny's been keeping in contact with him, and obviously, he's a Sydney local as well too. So that's something in the pipelines. But I'll speak to Danny about that, and hopefully we can get him on in the coming weeks. Yeah,
and we may have. I'm in discussions with him at the moment, but if anyone knows who Igal is, of Football Terrorist and Igal TV, maybe coming on the Arsenal preview. I don't know yet. I think we're going to do some at this point this week, which should be good as well. So, yeah, loads of things coming up on the channel. Really, really, really loads packed. The lot. It's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, big thank you to every single person. We've just done over 2 hours. You are all legends. Ozzy did amazing, even though he wasn't even coming on tonight. This is totally spur of the moment. So, thank you, Ozzy. Appreciate that, mate.
Yeah, job well done, mate.
And Pat, big thank you to you, mate. Legend.
No, thanks again.
As always.
Mate.
Yeah. And any Liverpool fan watching, please go and watch Liverpool. Go and read the Liverpool Echo, as he said 2 days ago. Sorry, I had to throw that in because I'm at Liverpool are selling. Take care. Thank you. You are all superstars. Much love. We've hit 1,000. Now we march to 2,000. Take care and much love. And we'll see you probably tomorrow night with a transfer show. Should be interesting. Take care, Blues.
In a bit.